tuning in to this segment of We Are Living Healthy. As the new year approaches, this is the time when everybody's beginning to think about the positive changes they want to see in their life. And one of the first things you need to have is a positive mindset, which means I'm really excited about our guest today, who is an expert on emotional intelligence. Can you please welcome Mr. Rob Roberts?
Hey, how are you doing?
I am absolutely fabulous. I'm really excited to have you here. For those who don't know, you're a personal development coach and life coach. Could you please just tell us a little bit about what you do and what exactly is emotional intelligence?
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me. I am a huge fan of the show. So what I do is at Never Stumble Consulting and Muscle to Bone Fitness, we definitely strive to assist people in overcoming stumbling blocks that are hindering them from being their very best self. So take the analogy of a person or a business trying to be almost like a skyscraper. What we do is instead of focusing on how high you want to build, we focus on your foundation. So this way you can withstand the test of time and the storms that are up ahead. So it's almost like going through life with a axe, and it's a dull axe. What we do is we teach people and businesses how to sharpen their axe. This way you can get more done in less amount of time.
Oh, that's a fancy description. I'm absolutely in love with it. And when it comes down to emotional intelligence, what do you think is the one element or multiple elements that somebody might be missing to help get them from point A to point Z?
Well, the first thing is understanding what emotional intelligence is and how it relates to you. So, for example, emotional intelligence is our capacity to be aware and in control of our emotions. This way we can better understand how to handle our interpersonal relationships more empathetically and with good judgment. So let's just say, for example, we're driving down the street and a person cuts us off in the car and they stick up their, a hand gesture that we just don't like. Well, instead of getting angry and almost wanting to have a road rage incident, what we want to do is actually change our mindset with emotional intelligence and realize, wow, what if this person is rushing themselves to a funeral or they're having a medical emergency or their wife is in the backseat and she's in active labor. So it changes our mindset into something more positive, allowing us to make better decisions in that particular moment. It's almost like making an RSA or a rational self-assessment on the spot, which will save us heartache later.
Right. I'm so glad that you said that. I love all things emotional, feelings, maybe because I'm a woman, I'm not sure. But I did want to ask, for those who suffer from road rage, from those who get angry before they have that empathetic view, is there anything that they can proactively do to have that pause moment, that think before you speak, think before you feel? What could proactively cause them to just stop for a moment? Because I think that's the part that's a big hurdle for a lot of people, is that you just automatically experience the emotion without pausing first.
I like the way that you just put that together, and you're absolutely right. One of the main things that we need to do is look at our perception and perspective as it relates to the situation that we're in and towards ourselves. So our perception is a part of our senses, what we see, what we touch, what we smell. And let's just say for smelling by itself, the human nose can detect over 5 billion different senses. So imagine smelling something from a long time ago, and that might cause an emotional trigger. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we wonder why we are where we are. Well, that right there is our perspective. So perception is what our senses are. Our perspective is our attitude towards what we see.
Okay.
In looking at this, we have to look at our 3 Ps: perception, perspective, and position. Once we change our position or our state of mind, now that alters our perception and perspective. So I'll use a quick story as an analogy. Imagine the old parable of the 2 dogs. One dog goes into a room and it's a happy dog. Its tail's wagging and it walks into the room. Moments later, it comes out and now the dog is almost smiling. Anyone who has dogs can see the dog will almost smile. And the tail's wagging a lot more and it's even happier. While an angry dog walks into the same room and now the angry dog comes out and is almost growling. And it's even more angry. So, of course, we're curious and we want to see what is in this room. Why are they acting that way? And we look and we see that it's a room full of mirrors. And that's how life is. So if you're a happy person, you're going to walk through life even happier. And if you're angry, you're going to come out even angrier. So what we project is what we're going to reflect, and vice versa. So that's one of the things that we need to look within ourselves to say, are we walking in love or are we walking in anger? And that's the difference between a person who, no matter what the situation, you see that they're always almost looking for an argument. Well, that right there is going to change their perception and change their perspective and how they operate throughout life.
Yes, no, thank you for that. When it comes to identifying how you feel, what I found is that a lot of times it takes effort and learning to say, this is an emotion that I'm feeling. Now what do I do with it? So if it's anger, why am I angry? If it's this, why am I that? But I wanted to ask, for those who are not connected to their emotions, how could one begin to identify what these different feelings are? Am I anxious or am I angry? Am I nervous or am I scared? How do you identify these different feelings that you might have so that you can handle them accordingly?
Well, a lot of times, and I like the way that you put that. A lot of times it starts off when we're younger in our informal socialization. Sometimes we'll see a friend or family member and our parents might say, hey, smile, or smile for the photo, or smile, they're coming to the door. And what's happening is that we're almost being told how to think and how to react in a way that we end up lying to ourselves in adult. I have a lot of people who tell me, you say, hey, how are you doing today? And they say, oh, I'm good, or I'm doing great, I'm doing great. Yeah. I found out that when a person says something twice, they're actually lying to themselves and they're trying to convince themselves how they actually want to feel rather than how they actually truly feel. So if I say to a person, how do you feel today? They say, well, I think I feel. We're also thinking instead of feeling, because a lot of us aren't in tune with our actual feelings. So to eliminate that, if we could just truly be honest with ourselves and say to ourselves, wow, I don't feel good today. And then we can discover the reason why. And that's what we do with Never Stumble Consulting. We actually get down to the root cause rather than say clipping the leaves off the weeds. We actually get down to the root and actually dig up that emotional trigger that's causing us to feel this way.
Okay. And I'm big on tangibles. So like when somebody says do better, I'm like, but what exactly does that mean? What does that look like? So when it comes to emotional intelligence and a positive mindset, or figuring out how not to have a negative response to something, or seeing it from an alternate perspective, is there anything a person can do, like a question they could ask themselves? Or, for example, if I were to answer, okay, I may be mad at this person for cutting me off. You know what? Let me think of two other things that could be happening. They could have somebody in the car. They could have this. So something tangible. Are there any tangible questions that somebody could ask themselves when they're trying to process their feelings and their perspective?
Yes, and your examples are actually on point 100%. And think about it for a moment. You know, we have to be quick to listen and slow to speak, and then we have to walk in love. So whenever we interact with anyone, family, friend, coworker, we have to say to ourselves, will this help me or will this hurt me? Will this help them or will this hurt them? A lot of times people, they talk about their circle and how they surround themselves with good people. Yeah. And they talk about their circle of trust. Well, we have to remember that it's not about who's actually in your circle. It's about who's in your corner. I'll use wildebeest, for example, in Africa. You see them all huddled up together all the time, eating grass. They look like they're best friends. That's great. But wait until a lion comes by. Wait until that test of time. Wait until you go through that moment in life. And all of a sudden you see your friends all of a sudden disappear or turn their head or look on from a distance while they're getting chewed up by that lion. So it's not about who's in that circle and who we surround ourselves with. It's about who's in our corner. And a lot of times that person needs to be you. A lot of times we're our toughest critic. We say, oh, I'm such a klutz, or I'll never be able to do this. And we do this negative self-talk and come to find out we are our own worst enemy. So we can't go through life and we shoot ourselves in the foot and we wonder why we're limping. So if we can pay attention to that self-sabotage first, now we can actually walk in love and allow us to operate throughout life without looking through that negative side of that mirror.
Right. I love that you said walk in love, because in my mind I processed it as walk in love and love yourself, like show yourself some grace. And also, I don't know if you got this wonderful quote from somebody else or if it's yours. When you said quick to listen and slow to speak, that's amazing. That needs to be put on a t-shirt somewhere.
Thank you. I wish I could take credit for it, but it's actually in the Bible. It's kind of funny. I wish I could take credit for it. I mean, after reading thousands and thousands of psychology books and all the education, I said to myself, well, let me go to the best book and actually pull something from there that actually holds the test of time. And for me personally, I just found out that when you do walk in love, this way, I mean, it just spews out to everyone. A lot of people talk about the laws of attraction and what you want to attract, but here's the thing. We can't continue to look for love if we're actually not walking in it ourselves. And that's what makes the major difference. Right. Thank you so much. You've been an absolute positive energy today that everybody needs. If somebody's trying to find you, I know you have a couple different companies, Muscle to Bone, and what's the rest? Yes, Never Stumble Consulting, and you can go to neverstumble.com, and also Muscle to Bone Fitness, and you could DM me on Instagram if you would like, and at Muscle to Bone Fitness. Our office number is 804-505-5404. All right. Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you. Such a pleasure, Alexis. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, that's it for this segment of We Are Living Healthy. I hope you felt the positive vibes. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the show and follow us on Facebook at We Are Living Healthy. And if you have a story that you would like to share that's beneficial for your health or your mindset, please do not hesitate to reach out to us so we can get you here. Well, that's it for We Are Living Healthy.